Hey there, this is Malorian, and this is going to be the first game of the Cry Havoc tournament, and I am pumped. I'm ready to go. I got my Dwarves, and, last tournament I had an army made by my daughter. It was a little bit, crazy and silly, and I was just hoping to, win one game, maybe two. But this one here, this is serious time. This is the Dwarves. This is probably the last time I'm going to take them to a tournament before they get a new book. I don't think I've actually ever taken them to a tournament before. And one of the things that really kind of has me really kind of pushing this time is somebody even made a comment just recently in the last month that, they thought I was the best dwarf general they've ever seen. So, I mean, no pressure there, right? But we're going into the first game here. And all these scenarios are going to be kind of based off of one that's in the book, but really changed, and it has its own flavor. So this one here, in general, is going to be dawn attack, but at the very beginning there, after deployment, you roll a d6 for every single unit, and they're going to be drunk in various ways. Now, if you roll a 1, it's nothing. If you roll a 2, they get +1 initiative. If you roll a 3, they get a +1 leadership. If you roll a 4, then they're going to have the swift stride rule. If you roll a 5, they're going to have frenzy, but then they're -2 leadership. And if you roll a 6, they're immune to psychology. So, the best way you found to do is just roll dice and then put it by the units to remember what effect each guy has. It's kind of silly to see, war machines having, swift stride and all this stuff. But what do you do after this is that starting on turn 3, you roll a d6 for each of the units, and on a 1, they lose that. Basically, they sober up. So that's going to be going on. But there's going to be 2 different levels to this game here. First of all, it's based off victory points. Just like normal, if you beat them by 100 points, it's going to be a win. They're going to call it a minor win here. If you get double the victory points, it's going to be a major win. Triple gets a massacre. And the same thing going down for the losing side. Now, so you want to win by VPs. That's the big thing. But there's some extra things going on here, too, for these bonus objectives. For this game here, you're going to get, if you have at least 2 units that are still drunk at the end of the game, that's 1 point. If you have... if you allow your opponent to redeploy one of their units after, that's going to be another point. So it kind of helps. It's one of these things where it's helping to mitigate the whole dawn attack thing, where sometimes somebody can get really screwed over. And really the thing is saying here is well, you get an extra point if you let them redeploy. So for the most part, I mean, you might be awesome that their key thing is way off on the wrong side, but if you want to get max points, you have to let them fix one unit from where it deployed. Finally, the last one is on the turn that a unit loses its drunk type thing, you have to kill them. So there you go. There's the mission. And this one's actually going to be kind of not a grudge match because we've never played before, but it's going to be set up where it's going to be myself versus one of the Dans from Codex Dan. It's a bit... Sheeb, I think is what he says his name. It's a little bit confusing because there's 2 Dans, but he goes by the screen name SHEEB. And let's get to the game. Alright, so looking at his list here, he's going to have some crossbowmen, some executioners, and in there he'll have his level 4. Apart from that, he has his spearmen, he has a hydra, he has these corsairs, a big old unit of them, and in there he's going to have a BSB on Cold One. Now, this might look really crazy here, but remember, this is an escalation tournament, and I'm sure later on, he would be having unit Cold Ones that they'd be joining up. Plus, he said that, he's really getting into Dark Elves, but he doesn't have a lot of the new stuff, and that his collection is kind of limited. So, obviously here, having a BSB that doesn't get a lookout, sir, is a bad thing, but just giving you a heads up why it is. Otherwise, on my side, I'm kind of castling over here. You can see all the dice thing what I got here. The biggest thing for the drinking on my side is both units of great weapons got frenzy. So that's amazing. That's great. That's what I want. All the rest are pretty meaningless. I'm not going to go over my whole list because I went over it in the intro. So if you want to see it all, go back to there. So this is what their overall layout looks like, and for my part, it worked out pretty well. I mean, once I started rolling, I started having to do some stuff on the right side. I did my anvil first to see where it'd go, and then I just did everything else, the castle around it, and I just got really lucky. Nothing went to the left side, and my castle looks pretty solid. On his side, pretty much all the stuff went in the middle, so no real worries for him. What my goals are in this game is, of course, to try and shoot down his 2 Hydras. It's going to feel real nice to be shooting at Hydras without regen, especially since I didn't take any flaming on my cannons. Now I have to worry about the Demon Prince. But I know the Corsairs are a real issue. He's going to be trying to get Mind Razor on them, so I have to make sure I have to really watch that. But really, the whole plan is just sit back, shoot off those Hydras, try and break down those Executioners so that they're not that big of a threat, and then everything into the Corsairs to break them down, and then just combine onto them. But, yeah, we're going to have a little bit of an issue, but we'll get to that in a second. And so, yeah, here's a picture of Dan, and, you know, I just know this is going to be a really fun game. I don't really know him at all, except for being introduced to him when Codex Dan got put together. I got to talk to him at the last tournament when I got to play against, you know, Mini Wargaming Dan. Seemed like a great guy, and hey, you know, I got to try and play against both the Dans, so here we're going to go. And, you know, later on, he's going to be making his own channel. We'll do like a little Google Hangout thing later on and cover that, but either way, this should just be a lot of fun. No, I said it's going to be really hard to, there's going to be a little bit of an issue here with me getting the jump on him and shooting him up. Well, even though I deployed first, and he has to roll a 6 to steal that first turn, yeah, he rolls that 6. He then has some bad luck. I told him right from the beginning, you know, you're going to have a hard time casting spells with my anvil and all this stuff, but he irresistibly forces off the Pit of Shades, puts it on my guys here, but luckily for me it scatters off. And then for him, though, he gets the Dimensional Cascade, and it is devastating. He luckily doesn't get sucked into the warp, so it's not, you know, catastrophically bad. But look at these Executioners. They are already cut in half. And whereas I was kind of worried about how much I'd have to throw into them to weaken them, yeah, they just kind of weaken themselves. So that was pretty lucky. Otherwise, he just has a general advance here. He has the Banner of Swiftness on the Corsairs, so they're a little bit faster. But like I said, I was kind of hoping to do some shooting to him first. But hey, it is what it is. So on my turn, I basically put a cannon into that BSB, take him off. I then shoot into the Hydra, take him off. I use the Anvil and the Corsairs, not to really for the damage, but remember, if you're hit by the Wrath and Ruin, you're half speed. So that's really going to keep the Corsairs away. Otherwise, yeah, that was pretty much it. I mean, I had to dedicate everything to getting that stuff done. And yeah, I mean, I'm feeling pretty good about this. On his turn, he goes for a bunch of charges. I guess he's usually fairly lucky with long bomb charges, so he tried to charge all the way across here pretty much. All of them failed. I mean, it's the stuff where you need like 11s and 10s, but hey, you might as well try, right? So those all fail. He kind of moves up just a bit. Over here, he shoots into my organ gun, and we're thinking like, oh man, you're not going to do anything. We got these trees, you know, I'm tough to 7, but he rolls well enough to kill 2 of my crew. So there you go. Otherwise here, on my turn, I decide, you know what, let's try and take the fight to him. He's already pretty hurt. That Hydra, you know, is not that scary. So I went up here and I got off the charge. You know, I have Frenzy. Everything will be great. Charge in here. But it actually turned out that I'm going to be losing my Frenzy. So I won't have this. But the whole idea is to get into this Hydra, kill it, and then get into those Executioners. And you know, looking back here, this is going to be kind of a foolhardy plan because, I mean, that was one of the ideas. The other idea was to shoot up those Executioners and wipe them out. So I kind of would just run past his whole army and could turn around. But it was really just me getting kind of super aggressive and taking the fight to him. I do tons of shooting into these Corsairs, and it does great. You know, my organ guns are rolling 10s, and I basically cut the unit in half. So, yeah, this is going to work out just fine here. After everything is said and done, I beat up the Hydra. I do not catch it, and then I go into the Corsairs. Now, he passes his panics. Everything is good like that. But, yeah. What you can see here is those spearmen can see my flank, and this is something where I just don't know why I went super aggressive like this. Yeah, I mean, I really thought I'd get in there, I'd get into something else and tear them apart. We're really trying to show off what I can do, but yeah, I'm going to be in a little bit of trouble here. So that's what he does. He flanks me. One thing that's going to be hurting this Hydra trying to rally is that he also has the Frenzy, so he's -2 leadership, and so he's not going to rally. But yeah, these spearmen into my flank, and I'm in wood, so I'm not stubborn or steadfast, even if I had more rank to him. Yeah, he also sends in the crossbowmen just for a few more. And so really my hope here is if I'm going to go down, I might as well take out the executioners, maybe do some wounds to the mage. But yeah, I'm already feeling a little bit dumb here. Yeah, and this gets even worse when he gets off Occam Mindrazor. So yeah, I'm in for some hurt. So after everything's said and done, it looks like this, and yeah, my guys are pretty much gone. I did not do much damage to those. Well, I did okay. I did okay damage to those executioners, just not as much as you would expect when you have a horde of guys, or did have a horde of guys. The only positive thing that came out of this whole thing is that since the big ranks were on the right side, he had to run to the left. So that's really taking him away, which gives me more to deal with. But yeah, otherwise, not going so hot. His Corsairs went for another charge again, but failed it because they're half speed. My side here, after I shoot them up, I use the anvil to take the warriors into here. I mean, really, this is like almost a best case scenario. If I give him another turn, he's just going to swift reform or something like that. So I might as well hit him while he's going to have the fewest attacks. After that's all said and done, it looks like this. So those Corsairs, they did do fairly well going back. They have a lot of attacks still, but I was able to beat them, run them down, so got some points going. That's pretty nice. Other than that, I actually did some shots at the Hydra just to try and finish it off. I don't want to, rally at the back board edge and then I don't get any points. But he's left on 1 wound right now. Otherwise, yeah, I wish I could do more shooting to the guys in the center, but my grudge thrower scattered off. And that's about it. Over here, he's going to turn to see me, and oh no, sorry, this is actually his level 4 decided to try and charge out to get to my organ gun because with everything being blocked up here, he knew he'd have to eat another round of shots, and if that sorceress could get to me, I only have 1 guy left. If nothing else, if he can't kill me and run off the board, make it tie me up. But yeah, she failed the charge. And now she's in danger zone. Otherwise, after his movements, it looks like this. Just really swift reforming and trying to get back to the center. He has a whole bunch of spells off on those spears, but yeah, I'm not going to come after him. I do have the miners that came in, and they're going to be over here to try and support. But yeah, I mean, at this point here, I'm still reeling from the stupidity of that great weapon unit, and I know that at this point here, I have to lose as little as possible of anything else if I want to score a massacre or even a solid win. So on my turn here, I do fairly well. I am able to go and kill off the rest of those executioners. I am able to kill off the sorceress, and those spearmen are devastated because I drop a rock on their head and it just kills tons. I believe my organ gun exploded and now it's dead, but otherwise, hey, I just killed a ton of points. His turn here, he charges in with what's left of his spearmen, and I'm not too worried because I got more miners and I'll kill him pretty easily. And after everything is said and done, it looks like this. So by now his Hydra has gone off the board. I didn't kill as much of those spearmen as I thought. 4+, 2+, that basically kills them. No, didn't really do it. So there you go. On my side, I'm basically trying to hunt down those crossbowmen, shoot down half of them. I beat the spearmen, but the last guy is running away. And this is bad because if I don't kill that last guy, I don't get those points. So I really got to make sure he dies. So I try to charge on him. He runs. Otherwise, he's shooting at me. Yeah, this must be his turn, so he probably failed the rally and he shoots at me. But yeah, you know, just trying to get some points. And then the last turn of the game, I try and charge his crossbowman. I fail. I shoot down the lost spearman, and then I try and anvil into him, and I fail again. So that's the game. So when we add it all up, it turned out to be a massacre for the Dwarves. So a big win to start the tournament. That's the way you want to do it. And looking at the other objectives, I had 2 units at the end that were still drunk, but man, it was close. Because on turn 5, when I was rolling my dice, I was rolling like 1, 1, 1. All my guys are sobering up, so it was really just down to it. Where on turn 6, of my last 2 guys, if I got 1, 1 there, would have lost it, but I got that one. We both let each other redeploy. And neither of us were able to destroy a unit when it lost its drunkenness. It just never really came up. So whatever, I got, you know, at least 2 of the points out of the possible 3, and that massacre was a big thing. It would take me a long way. Now, of course, looking back in the game, there were some massive mistakes. That big charge with the Great Weapon Dwarves, just dumb, dumb, dumb. Really, I mean, it's one of these things where obviously what dwarves normally want to do is sit back in castle and let you come to me. But when we got to this point here, I mean, one of the things I love about dwarves is when you combination them with the anvil, people just don't see the charges coming. So I'm always looking to try and, you know, like, surprise, send them out there. And that, you know, almost at these points, like in this game, where it's the point of idiocy. Just why would you do that? And so that was kind of unfortunate. Luckily enough, it didn't give up enough points to make me regret it after. But either way, it was a really fun game. Really great way to start the tournament. Like I said, Sheeb is going to be starting his own channel later. Right now, he's still doing it there on the Codex Dan. So I'll link that down below. And hope to like the game. And there'll be another one coming up right away.